More and more, I find myself wondering if it's all worth fighting for. Maybe one day, I'll find out.
Hi guys, highly interested here. Back again with another video. I know it's been quite a while since the last time I posted and since the last time you've seen me. A lot of different things have been going on in my life. Well, the most big, prominent one kind of delaying me here from posting would be the process of moving. Me and my wife have finally got a house of our own here. Not entirely own, I mean renting. Basically a spot of our own, and we've been slowly moving things piece by piece, getting bookshelves and everything, getting all set up, you know. And not a lot of that stuff takes time, and it's a big effort to kind of get everything set up, you know, organized the way we want, a way that basically feels like home. And so for the meantime, I might be sticking with this here just because it's a little bit easier to fit into my schedule in terms of like recording for a video and whatnot. But yeah, today in this video here, just kind of recording over some gameplay footage that I was able to capture finally. I know that I've mentioned it previously, especially in like another video. I may have mentioned that I was running into some technical difficulties, but I eventually figured it out and got it going. And yeah, here's the byproduct of that. Yeah, and just let me know here. Obviously, the quality is pretty decent, pretty okay. There is no issues on my part in terms of blurriness or any kind of like weirdness going on in terms of like video quality. But yeah, just let me know in comments down below. Tell me what you think of the quality of it. Sound as well. That's also one thing I'm working on. Obviously, working on mic volumes. Essentially trying to balance my voice out with the music, and you know, kind of try to find a perfect balance. Obviously, I don't want to hear or want you guys to hear me breathing heavily or whatever, you know, hearing all these weird noises that I'm making, that I think I'm making silently, but actually I'm not. Yeah, so to drown those out, trying to figure that out. And yeah, for the most part here, I want to try to make my videos more or less of a long form content, especially going forward now that I'm able to record a video, maybe even insert some video footage of me here at my desk once I get that kind of set up. It's a mess right now. I got a few things kind of organized and it looks okay, but it's not the presentable, you know, it's not in a presentable manner that I would like or feel comfortable with showing, because it's really just bland and it really doesn't feel like me. It just feels very sterile, if you get what I mean. But yeah, so that's what's been going on. That's the reason for the delay in recording. But now that things are kind of simmering down, things are finally feeling in place. I'm finally feeling in place, and also finally feeling at home. And you know, and that's a topic for another discussion there. But it's a good feeling, you know. It's pleasant, and I love it. But yeah, going back to this, I have a couple questions here that I would like to ask, just for simple, you know, feedback. You know, yeah, because I'm actually trying to grow this channel here. I'm not too sure if I want to focus too much on gameplay or just mainly have it going on in the background, because for me, I do enjoy gaming as a personal little hobby, you know. So it's just like, how can I incorporate that into this, you know? Also, I might actually try to upload some IRL content in real life, you know, that kind of mumbo jumbo kind of vlog stuff. Because today, while doing the lawn over here, I just so happened to stumble upon a lizard. They're pretty cool over here. They kind of just run rampant. You see them skittering across from, you know, one end of the driveway to the other, and it's interesting because I like to try to catch them every time I see them. But you know, they're very elusive and very evasive. They're pretty fast. But yeah, it just so happened as I was walking around to look for the gardening supplies, I found a little bucket, and in that bucket was maybe about an inch worth of water, and on the bottom of the water was a lizard, and his head was sticking out above the water. And one thing I know is that reptiles are cold-blooded animals, so you know they need heat to kind of function. And if they're in too cold of an environment, they kind of freeze up. They'll look dead, but they're not essentially dead. They're just their bodies running on like low energy mode. So you know it's probably just had enough energy to stick its head out of water and just pray that it can make it during the day once it's warmed up. But anyway, I found this little dude. I'm calling him, I think it was male. I searched it up, a dude. But anyway, yeah, got the little dude, and I put him in a little jar, or not even a jar, Tupperware, not even a Tupperware container, but it's like a large storage bin, maybe about 6x6. But anyway, not important. Put him in a little Tupperware, brought him inside, and put him next to our little heater. And yeah, set the heater down to medium, hit him, faced it towards him, warmed him up a bit, and within an hour he was up and kind of like going. And it's interesting because I tried to set him free. As you'll see, I might post that up because it was very interesting. But he did not want to leave. He let me pet him, especially after, you know, him being mobile, agile, able to move around. He let me pet him, and it was interesting because deep down I kind of want to keep him, but I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to fate. What I did is I took him in that little container and I flipped it on its side, and he was just chilling there. Like, he didn't want to move, and you know, it seemed like he was fine where he was. And I don't know, I let him sit out there, and I'm gonna go check back in about another hour or so, and if he's in there, bam, new house pet. Give him a cool name. Not too sure what to name him. If you have something interesting that you would like to recommend, please leave it down. I'm really fond of like human names for pets. So if you got an interesting one, please leave it down below. I'm curious to see what you guys think. But anyway, with that being said, I kind of want to get into the heart of the video, which would be this of the video game we're actually watching right now. I say video game. Yeah, I feel like an old person. Anyway, but yeah, Resident Evil 5. This particular game, you know, this holds a special place in my heart. I know Resident Evil 4, I played that game religiously on my PS2. You know, I beat it over 10 times, just straight, you know, playing it back to back to back to back. You know, it was one of my favorites, and when I heard that Resident Evil 5, you know, was gonna be released, you know, automatically I hyped on that hype train, or jumped on that hype train, because I just, you know, was eagerly waiting to play it. Like many others, I personally have been a Resident Evil fan for maybe as long as I can remember in terms of like my gaming history. I remember going and seeing my cousins playing Resident Evil 0 on the GameCube, you know, me being too scared to play it. I even remember going to Blockbuster one day and renting Resident Evil 3 and attempting to play it at home on my PS1, but inevitably being too scared to actually even get past the first 5 minutes of the game. So, you know, that was kind of a waste. But, you know, I played it, I tried it, but to no avail. It was too scary for me at the time, and you know what? It's alright, because I made up for it later in life. But anyway, yeah. So Resident Evil 5, you know, me kind of already being so heavily invested in Resident Evil lore, everything Resident Evil, so many things I've watched online regarding gameplay videos, early, you know, speed runs of all the Resident Evil series, you know, in lead up to, you know, Resident Evil 5 release. And anyway, so this game holds a place in my heart for many reasons, but one of those being that this was a particular game I had to wait to get as a child. Growing up, I was an only kid, so, you know, obviously when it came to gifts and things, you know, getting things that I wanted, sure enough, you know, my parents would be able to get me the things that I want, but not all the time. And just like this rare occasion, I actually had to save up for an Xbox to even actually be able to play Resident Evil 5 at the time. So that wouldn't even actually be until my birthday. So I really didn't get a chance to play it in its very early days on my own. But I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to actually play it. I think even before it was released. I remember this was around the time, maybe a couple days before the release of actually Resident Evil 5. I was at my cousin's house, and he just so happened to have a modded Xbox 360. And guess what? I go over to his house and I look through his games with all the stuff that he has burned on these DVD discs, bootleg as hell. I scroll through the discs and I see one that catches my eye, and I look at the disc, I look at him, and I say, dude, is this Resident Evil 5? He looks at it, he goes, yeah, man. Yeah, I just got it a couple days ago. You can play it if you want. And that's all I needed to hear. I slapped that stuff fucking so quick into his Xbox and booted it up. And I played it to the wee hours of the morning. And it's such a core memory for me, especially because I remember actually playing a co-op with another cousin of mine who was there for a sleepover. And we managed to get through a large portion of the game. Actually, to this point right here, that's on the screen, funny enough. We made it all the way to this particular point before, the fun police, my cousin's aunt, or my aunt, but my cousin's mom, came in and forced us to go to bed. Forced us to lose all our progress because for some particular reason, his Xbox didn't save games all too well. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because he was using a memory card. I think that's maybe might be the reason why. But anyway, yeah, so all the progress that we had, led up to that point was erased, and, it was fun while it lasted. I actually got a chance to play it, which, for me, meant the world, and, it was a special moment, and I think back fondly on those times, and kind of wish I can go back, but then again, I do like looking at, past memories of events like this, and I have plenty of them for a lot of these different various games that I want to cover, especially my second, favorite series of probably of all time, the Fallout series. I really enjoyed Fallout 3. Fallout 3, I'll tell you right now, is probably the most hours I've ever played in the game would be Fallout 3. That game, the replayability, the ability to just play that game nonstop, even when you end it, when you beat everything, to still be able to go around finding stuff, collecting things, finding something different, finding something new, yeah, I hold that game to high esteem as I do the Resident Evil series. But yeah, so anyway, going back to this Resident Evil 5, I did get a chance to play it. Like I said, a little early at my cousin's house, but never really on my own Xbox. There was no data saved under my gamer tag, all the stuff that I was kind of, fantasizing about as I was, doing odd jobs around the house, doing, yard work for family members, all in the hopes of saving enough money to actually get an Xbox, which did take quite a long time, but it just so happened to coincide with my birthday. So for about, 6 months, I worked, and yep, I eventually got enough to save up to buy myself my very first Xbox, or actually my very first console on my own, which was very exciting at the time. It really felt like this was mine. No matter what my parents said, they could never take it away from me, but they would find ways to circumvent that, especially when I started getting into Xbox Live, playing multiplayer games, and realizing that I need internet to do so, and monthly subscriptions to Xbox Live, and they would eventually hold that over my head, in place of doing chores and all that for this and that. It sucked, but it was respectable. I understand now as an adult. Yeah, you can't have fun all the time. But anyway, yeah, so I forgot where I was gonna go with that. But yeah, I eventually saved up, got my own Xbox. Oh, don't get me started about unboxing videos. Back then, YouTube, that was one of my favorite genre of videos to actually go search up and look up, and that would be unboxing videos. Like nowadays, things are a bit different. There's so much production value going in on a lot of these videos nowadays, you know, especially with the tech YouTubers, the latest and greatest guys. Don't get me wrong, their content is very entertaining and I love it. I'm subscribed to a lot of them, but there's really not that, like, there's really not a old authentic feel as there was in previous, you know, years. I remember, you know, shitty cameras, fucking face down view of a box, and very odd lighting, you know, something more real and authentic about that you don't really see anymore. Everything seems like a production value, you know, or everything seems like it has high production value. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate that too, in terms of like content and the viewing experience. I love seeing fucking crispy colors and so much detail, more detail than I should even be, you know, looking for. You know, I shouldn't be able to see every single individual pore in your face. You shouldn't be able to see the individual hairs sticking out of my nose, you know. And but yeah, I really do enjoy that content. Yeah, going back to the unboxing videos, you know, that would be the start of my like early YouTube career, which I kind of want to go over too, you know, kind of go over the old days of YouTube, kind of how it was. I remember going there, watching a lot of stop motion Lego videos. Oh man, that was a big popular thing back in the day. And also watching early Smosh, Nigahiga, who else? Early Shane Dawson. That's so interesting to see his own little transition to what he's got going on now. It's pretty interesting, but you know, that's another topic for another time. But yeah, going back to getting my Xbox and actually plugging this in, playing it, getting the chance to, you know, get a feel for it. But having bought it a couple months later, I felt like I had the upper hand, because from that time, from when it came out, from when I played it to when I actually got my own hands on my own copy, you know, I would purchase a Resident Evil 5 strategy guide. I don't know if you guys, or if they even make those anymore, the strategy guides. They would essentially have, you know, all the chapters, all the hidden items, gems, and all this and that. If you're a big completionist, these guides were your ticket to getting those big achievements, you know, those 100%, you know, finish everything, those secret achievements. You know, that was a big popular thing back then too, you know, your gamer score. Having a high gamer score, having the most points, kind of displaying your dominance through, you know, the amount of achievements you got through playing a variety of games, you know. But yeah, so without that, or past that tangent, yeah, so with that strategy guide, you know, had the upper hand. I knew what to upgrade, how much money I needed to save to upgrade what. I knew what guns were the best, where to find the most expensive jewels, how to beat these particular boss as quick as possible. So I came in with a really unfair advantage for the game in terms of them coming up against me. You know, obviously I was well prepared, well experienced veteran of Resident Evil 5, coming into it and, you know, showing what's up, or showing them what's up with my skills in gaming. But yeah, I played the game. I really, like, it really itched a scratch in my brain. Like, the gameplay was addictive, this story was, you know, amazing for me to see all these plot twists of, oh, where's Jill? Oh, there's Jill. What? There's Wesker. Oh, what? He's the bad guy. But yeah, anyway, seeing all that, it was a ride. That's all I have to say, really. So many different things in this game where you'd kind of see it as being ridiculous or, you know, kind of over the top. But then again, you know, it's Resident Evil 5. You know, if you come in here expecting, you know, a tribute to the old days of the old Resident Evils, kind of like what they did with the Resident Evil 2 remake, or even Resident Evil 7, kind of their attempt to kind of go back to the grassroots, you know, survival horror. And I do really appreciate Resident Evil 7. You know, it did have a fresh take on a series that I do love. I played just nearly about all the Resident Evil games. I do have quite a few here that I want to go in depth with, especially very obscure ones, such as Resident Evil Dead Aim. I'm sure half of you don't even know what that game is, Resident Evil Dead Aim. Really fun game, actually. Now that I kind of think about it, I'm kind of playing it in my head right now. Yeah, kind of want to do reviews on that. But anyway, going back to Resident Evil 5, you know, I really enjoy this game. I really think anybody who actually gives this game a chance, or even a download, will, you know, surely not regret it. I know Capcom, you know, every so often they have pretty big, you know, what do you call that, company-wide sales. Like Capcom would have a lot of sales throughout particular, you know, holidays. I recommend checking those out because I remember seeing Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 together in a bundle for like $15. Like, you can't beat that. That's perfect. You know, and the game actually runs pretty well up until this part here. I don't know if you guys are going to see this. I vividly remember this awkwardness, and this is one thing too I hate about this game. Sometimes, you know, it can be real finicky. Like here, I don't even know what happened. I just got stuck. I tried to have her drop the rocket launcher, but I kept picking it up, kept ordering her to pick it up while trying to reload it, and the game just broke on me. I just included that in there just because it was just a funny little thing that happened to me. That's the first time in all the years that I've ever played this game that particular thing has ever happened to me, or really anything has happened for me in terms of like glitches and stuff like that, which is pretty amazing, which is also why I included it. But yeah, besides that, this game is, you know, pretty great, flawless in terms of gameplay. In my personal opinion, there's so many things, you know, little things that you don't really notice until you play it through its entirety. You know, obviously you learn the new inventory system, how things are organized. You quickly learn that you can reload from those little menus. You also find out that, you know, there are particular invincibility frames that come with picking up items, doing melee attacks on different enemies, and yeah, you can use that pretty much to your advantage. You know, if there's a big group of enemies, you know that there's a lot of things incoming your way. Boom, just shoot somebody in the knee, give them a good melee, or just kind of keep yourself in an area where there's quite a few of items surrounding you, or in your surrounding area, at least one or two. That'll get you out of plenty sticky situations. You know, it pretty much makes you invulnerable to any kind of damage. You know, obviously, if there's an enemy who's aiming right at you, shoots an RPG, just right before the moment of impact, pick up an item and boop, you know, you just fucking tank that giant RPG to the face with no damage. It's very OP, easily abused, and